Is Yerushalmi Truma Staff Mem Gimel in the uh, Osbar article edition. We're gonna start from the second line down, go back a bit, to from the words Ma'aser B'Chagach Truma, and in the middle, it's right on the top of Mem Chof Aleph Amud Aleph. So Ma'aser B'Chagach Truma needs a makdim Truma. No, sorry. Ma'aser B'Chagach Truma needs a makdim. Truma Chagach Ma'aser nimtza o pochis masrosav o mosiv masrosav. Okay, so I stopped yesterday right after in the middle of a sentence, really, and I didn't realize it. I should have. Ma'aser v'chachach truma. You the take off. Well, let's see the Ritbaz. Okay, Perish. The Mepharsh said the Masisi Nida. He explains our Mishnah. The Osa Echel Mimei Chulin Barishon. First, make something 100 Chulin first. Hakore Shem Truma. Then you can designate Truma. Hakoz Lasos Me Chulin Meiser. And then you go back and make the Chulin into Meiser. First, Gemara Kavur B'Shnosio Zal. Mishum the Noita Echel Mishloshim Mishalosh Shlish Boimet. You take 1/33 and a third by approximation, by estimation. B'im Yaseh Maser V'Chagach Truma. If you make a meiser and afterwards truma, harei makdim. So then you're doing it incorrectly because you're going to actually take up meiser for truma. Truma chakach meiser. So what about you do the other way around? Take up truma and afterwards meiser. Hadina the truma the noitamina oimed. Truma is supposed to be taken by approximation, by estimation, not precisely. It's supposed to meiser. V'shema lo yichavem v'yito pochos o yoser. And maybe since he's taking the truma off approximately, maybe he's going to take off a little bit more, a little bit less. And if that's the case, he's in trouble with the trumas meiser, which has to be precise. Be a little bit more, a little bit less. That's why first you designate, even though you're not being mafresh it yet, you designate the 1/100 first, initially. Shar the truma and say the rest is going to be truma. Even the 1/100 you say I'm designating it. It's still chulin. Then I take you say and the rest of the piece is truma. The rest of the amount they took off is truma. So the truma should be only what's the remainder after the 1/100. Once you start taking off the trumas and meisers, who osa shir mitzumtzum echad mi mea a korcha. It's not a cane. But korcha she osa trumas and meisers who osa shir mitzumtzum echad mi mea. Okay, so then the shir of not trumas and meisers. I'm not sure now. It's Alkan or Kocha shows Chumas Meiser, where he makes Chumas Meiser, who it's precise, which is good. Okay, so the again, let's see inside. Meiser Chuma, not good. Needs a Makdim Chuma, needs a Makdim Chuma, needs a Makdim. I made the same mistake before. Meiser Chuma needs a Makdim, which is no good. Chuma Chakach Meiser. But true, take up truma first, designate truma first, then meiser. Needs to focus on meiser, so we need a little bit less than 1/100 for the trumas meiser, or most of meiser for a little bit more than 1/100. Because the Tanya, and we know, apochis meiser, so somebody takes too little for his meisers. Meisers and metukanim, the meiser is okay, but my peiros and mekukalim, it's not his fruit is not properly fixed. Hamadiv Amosrosa, if you take a little bit more than the Shir Meiser, Masrosa Mikukolim. This Meiser is not okay because part of it is Chulin. Upeirosim Duganim. But okay, that came in the Cheshman of his payro, his fruit which are fixed. So Rabbi Yosef says, B'samuch al Tanai Beistin. So let's go back to read Baz. Valzeh Omar Rabbi Yosef, B'samuch al Tanai Beistin, who perish. To Akosh Lefizeh, according to this, it's difficult. Bahanach Mishnayis, the Amazis Chaver Shochel Etzlo. We have Mishnayos where it says if somebody invites his friend over, Oimer, the friend says, Meiser Sheni Shani Meiser Sheni Maser. No, Meir of Shabbos. I'm bad at the abbreviation side. Omer Merev Shabbos, says before Shabbos, Meiser Shani Osila Frish Lamachar, the Meiser which we're going to take up tomorrow, Reu Meiser, the Shar Samuchlo, and the rest adjacent to it, Zesh Sisi Chumas Meiser V'chulik, said in Mishnah Senu. For Hassam, there, it's Shabbos, and Noitam Yoimid, he's taking it imprecisely. Now, the Truma is not taking, because we're talking about the Mai, and we assume the Truma has been taken off. But the Meiser, next day, he can't measure it. So how's it going to work? You can't say, says Ribaz, that's okay. You can take a P-Omed based on estimate. And we're not concerned they won't make it precise. It's not true. We see in our Mishnah, you can't rely on estimation, approximation. That you take off approximation and not the precise shear. The Sar Mishnah Seinu, he says after our Mishnah, the Besamuch. So, what it means by Alachem is sorry, Mishnah saying the Besamuch Perish Samach al Shulchano al Tnai Beistin. Who? So he's relying on his table on Tnai Beistin. So the Gemara asks, Mao Tnai Beistin. What's Tnai Beistin? But what Tnai Beistin is effect here? That it should be effective. So he says that Mao Tnai Beistin, back to Baz, Udesha Das Toeh. That as much as a person makes a legitimate mistake, he's not coming actually to ask question or to answer. When he's sitting at somebody else's table, like on Shabbos here, came a little efshar, since it's not possible for him to be precise. Al based in who? It's al based in Mao Tnai Basin, Perish Ma Yesh O Tnai Basin, and that's Gemara is going to say that's later on already. So in any event, the first Tnai Basin is a Makush Dastoya. So in a pinch, we're stuck. You're eating at somebody else's table, so you're allowed to do it me'omed, even the Chumas Meiser. And presumably Basin says that whatever was over or below the shear, so it's going to be made up. And the way your Reb Chaim puts it is that if you took off a little bit less in Chumas Meiser, my basin is that in the Meiser, a little bit more should be Chumas Meiser as necessary. And of course that Chumas Meiser goes butter in the Meiser because it's a minuscule amount. And if you took up too much Chumas Meiser, so the Tnai Basin is that additional amount, which is in the clump which he took off or set aside, is actually reverts or never becomes Chumas Meiser. It remains plain Meiser. That's the first Tnai Basin. Okay. Mahu. What now? We ask. Gemara asks. Mahu. Tnai Basin is not what. What's another Tnai Basin? There's more than one Tnai Basin. So the strange way of asking, but that's a Gemara's question. So I'm going to tell you another Tnai Basin. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, "Kidei she'akovea ma'aser rishon b'tzvono, u'ma'aser sheni l'dromo, u'chumas ma'aser b'tzofon tzvonis." So if he didn't set aside a proper amount, that it should, and designating the fruit, what's ma'aser in the fruit, and we say that it's automatic. The way Reb Chaim explains it here, that if he gave too little Meiser Rishon, so automatically some of the Meiser Rishon will be included in his fruit uh, on the north side, and then Trumas Meiser will also take place on that side, and the same thing with Meiser Sheni. So I'm not sure exactly how it works because anyway, he's not actually taking it off. So perhaps he had in mind part of it, and that part was not sufficient. Let's see if we find something on this. Okay, so I'm not sure about Reb Chaim's shot here. I was looking in the tuna. For some reason, the tuna, the Tolos Yitzchak. The Tolos Yitzchak is the parish on Yerushalmi. I don't think I've quoted before of the Rav of Moscow under the communists. Yitzchak Isaac Krasilchikov. Krasilchikov, and he was this was parish was written in the 1950s and was snuck out of Russia in order to print before communism fell, and it will be a very big time of Chacham or parish on Yerushalmi, obviously. So he says that once it came to America on a propaganda tour because Rush wanted to show that they had freedom of religion. So you have to be very careful what he said because there are KGB agents with him at all times. So the way he explains it is that um, the Tanai Basin is specifically not to take off Ma'aser Rishon and Ma'aser Sheni, but rather to designate them on north and south. And that way there's no issue that he's going to take off an imprecise amount. He has to take off he has to take off the Trumas Meiser and the Truma because that he's not allowed to eat. But the Ma'aser Rishon, Ma'aser Sheni, the rest of it, he designates a place on the north, a place on the south, and that way he doesn't have to worry that he's going to take off an imprecise amount because it's designated and not actually separated. Okay, so that's what it means. Put a designated on the north, Ma'aser Sheni Droma, Ma'aser Sheni designated on the south. U'Trumas Ma'aser b'Tzvon Tzonis, and the Trumas Ma'aser is so to speak the north, right? Because it's next to the place where that what you actually remove is next to the Ma'aser which remains in the pot. The next part of the Gemara is a very cryptic line. The Bar skips over it, and Moshe gives several possibilities. So what it says here is in the Gemara itself is Ma'atnai based in Ma'atnai based in who she put in Ma'aser Sheni what in Ma'aser Sheni Sheb Odef Podli. When you redeem Ma'aser Sheni, that which is the remainder or the is also redeemed. So let's see Pnei Moshe. He gives two pshatim here. Shein she'o the padri, klomar, meaning v'od mitnai based in. She mosifa Ma'aser Sheni. If you add on to Ma'aser Sheni, b'chdei shadas toya. It's a little bit more than the requisite tenth. Podo so, and you redeem it. Chal pinion agam al odef. Pinion also works on the odef, even though the odef is not really technically Ma'aser Sheni, but you don't want to have chulin on in your Ma'aser Sheni coin. I don't know exactly how that works because it's not pinion, so it's not chulin, so it's not. There is no issue, but that's why obviously Pnei Moshe has difficulty with that. So it's another shot. Inami Yochagamar. Shin Padel Odef Bilvad. If you just redeem the excess, Chal Pinion Allah, the Pinion devolves on it. So also in the May Odef Yerushalayim, you have to take that money to Yerushalayim for the excess. Well, it's saying that this is my sheni, and it's the my sheni. Below me, we don't say came into Odefu, lo yichal of Torah's Pidyon, that the Pidyon doesn't devolve upon it. The Hayesh kan shir Ma'aser Sheni milvad ze Odef. There's Ma'aser Sheni besides the Odef. The Odef is attached to it. Now, based on Shafa Odef, Yesh lo din Ma'aser Sheni. Even the excess has a din of Ma'aser Sheni. It's the Gra also skips over this line in the Gemara, and the Chaim has his own shot here, which I'm not going to get into because it has to do with his shot in the study before. The Rosh Cirilio, does he say anything here? Um, um, Perishing Piches Tchila Meiser Sheni. We gave Tulul first. Oh no, sorry, this is the Gra. Oh, it does. Those does have this. Oh, tonight, but based in she put a Meiser Sheni Shabo the patient Piches Tchila Meiser Sheni. If you gave at first two little Meiser Sheni, she put a Chachak Af redeems afterwards Afa Oidif Nifta. Af Shlo Kibin Love Klau. Okay, so I think that that's better than the Bnei Moshe. That he's saying that if you uh, if you initially you, although I don't know why you need this after what he says before that, Basin has determined that you had in mind the north or the south in the precise measure. But he'd say if you initially had in mind less than the proper measure, then that also should be uh, when you pose afterwards. So even the excess, which is Ma'aser Sheni Mitnai Chachamim, is also part of the pidyon. Uh, the Rashi says, tonight based on she put a Ma'aser Sheni Sheba Odef Body. Okay, I don't know what Rashi was saying. Let's go on. Okay, so the Gemara says, Akdum Biyavish, Belach. So the Baz comes back here. He says, Akadum Yavesh, Belach, B'chulei. Now he has here the Gersa from the Gra. To Tnina Musgula Kos. In other words, something missing here from the Gemara. So the exact Gersa of the Gra is Akadum Yavesh, Belach, Kadar Tnina Musgula Zakos. So as the Baz explains, Perish b'yavish some kinat nai based it. Al omer adas. By dry, we rely on the estimate which the nai based in makes precise. Bilach mau. So what about balach? It's hard to say north and south in lach. I'm assuming that's the issue, but he says here in gamlach is a general question. Can we rely in lach on omer adas? The so the Gra says, yeah, I'm just looking for the Gra side. The Gra says, Akadim Biyavish Perish Yochel assign Makom. He can designate a place, no matter it's phone or bedroma. But Balach, Perish Echum Asayim, how is he going to designate a place? Shar ain't got Sofa of Durham Cloud. Shemura, there's no north and south because it's constantly mixing together. Mishani, and the answer is Kuranina Musgos Hakos, Perish Lavi Makom Masuyam Piv Bishule Hakos. So, and when they pour for you a cup, the cup has the rim opening and the bottom. So there's no north south. North south doesn't work. You go by the place in the cup. And I think that there is perhaps I think that liquids move more side to side than they do up and down. I think that's the basis of the Lubavitcher mikveh, bor agabe bor, that the water can slosh around sideways, and therefore there's a problem if you make the bore on the side, that maybe the water is going to slosh back and forth until you don't have a proper shear of meg shamim in the bore, and the mikveh is no good. But when it's up and down, so then it doesn't. There's not that much exchange. So it could be that that's in general true that even though there's no north and south because some things are sloshing around, maybe up and down that we can say that there's the mouth of the cup and the bottom of the cup. Okay, the Gemara goes on. The person had 100 figs, Chamisha Ravin 50 large ones, Chamisha Tekikins 50 small ones. In Nasimim Rav Ravaya, if he takes some large ones, Sarich Nasav Tesha, he's got to take for 9. Because relatively speaking, 9 of them would be 1/10 of the entire batch. Mean the Kika, Kikto takes a small one. Tzarich Mesa Ba'achadis. It's like 11. That's the 10th relative to the entire batch. Nasab Asara Min Mervaya. Rabbi takes a 10th from the large ones. East Kamon Charachulin. One of them is going to be Chulin. B'chash Lomar. And are we concerned? Or should we not be concerned that Shema also Chulin also so Chumas Meiser? Maybe that part which is Chulin is going to be in the Chumas Meiser because you have too much Meiser here. Therefore, when you make Chumas Meiser, maybe the part you take off was originally Chulin. The Gra and the Shtok takes out the Makamacher. So we'll take that too. See, Shumas Hashem Maaser Min HaMaaser V'lo Chulin Min HaMaaser. You have to take off the Truma and not Chulin. Obviously, it's a lav dafka, but it means the point is that the Chulin can't become Trumas Meiser. Amar. Oh well, yeah. So so in fact, in some I want to put in Trumas Hashem as my. I don't have to do this, but I added like a few words here. See, Trumas Hashem Maaser Min Lo Chulin Min HaMaaser V'lo Maaser Min HaChulin. That way it gets you put it in. Alright, Boom Barkana. So Boom Barkana says, Matnev Omer, you make it tonight. Maaser Zeh Sheperos Lo Chayavos, the Meiser which these payers are obligated to have. Harehu Kavur B'tchilas Kol Oketz V'Oketz. There should be next to the twig, which comes out coming out of each and every fig. Umahalech Ad Shemagia B'Chol Eser. And then you go to all 10. Mesiv, and you take them all. Eastbound Chadu Chumas Meiser. So there, at the very least, there's enough to make Chumas Meiser, right? In whatever you took off, and the Koshu Chulin. So you have a Koshu Chulin. Okay, so in other words, you say the Chumas Meiser is in each one, specified specific place in each one, and the rest of the amount of that one, but the 1/10 overall is throughout the 10. 1/10 throughout the 10, I think. In any event, there's a little bit of a Meiser Chulin. Oh yeah, okay, you give it to the going, or you throw away B'kedusha if you can, but if you have to, but that's fine. And I think that we are now on. Yeah, Mem Daled Aleph. So we will stop here.